How's it going, guys? We're back for another board game bully review. Today we are going to be looking at King of Tokyo. It's been a while since we've done a review. Obviously masks are still a thing in Australia, and I'm not going to sit around for 8 hours wearing a mask, because that's definitely limiting our gameplay options. Also, one of the members of our main private board game group got the COVID, so he was out for a little while. But we were hanging out at another friend's pool the other day, and the clouds came in, and I was like, well, what can we do? And then someone pulled out King of Tokyo, so I have that on my shelf. Seemed like a perfect opportunity to do a review. Let's go take a look at the pieces. Alrighty, so here we have the King of Tokyo board set up. So you can see it's a very small board. You've got Tokyo City here, and Tokyo Bay if you're playing a 5 to 6 player game. So this is how the game will start. Everyone will have a monster in front of them, and they will have a player board just like this in front of them. The stars will be set to 0, the life will be set to 10. You win if you get all the way to 20 points. You lose if someone else gets the 20 points, or you go all the way down to dead. You can also win by knocking everybody out. Now the way you do this is you use these dice here. I'm using the Halloween expansion dice because I think they look better, but just for reference, this is the base dice that comes in the game. So what you do is you will roll, and each dice has a different face. So, ones. This is one of the primary ways you get points. If you can get 3 of the same number on a dice, you will get that many points. So 3 ones equals 1. If you manage to get a 4th one, each additional matching number will give you 1 extra point. So if you were to roll all ones, you would get 1 point for your first 3, and then 1 point for each subsequent one, so you would get 4 points. This continues into 2s and 3s. If you get 3 2s, you get 2 points. For each subsequent 2, you will get 1 point. And 3, etc., etc. Obviously the 3s are better. And the numbers are shared evenly on the dice. There is 1 1, 1 2, 1 3 on each dice. Next up, you have claws. Claws will let you attack the person in Tokyo City, or in a 5 to 6 player game, the person in Tokyo City and Tokyo Bay. On the first turn, there will be no one in Tokyo City or Tokyo Bay, so if you roll a claw, you will move in, like that. Now, some people have criticised the fact that the first claw does nothing for you. However, moving into Tokyo City does give you 1 point. So 1 point for 1 dice is a pretty good little conversion rate there. Next up, we have hearts. Hearts will let you heal. So they will let you, say if you were on 2, or like if you were on blurry blur. So if you were on 1, 1 heart would let you go up to 2, 2 hearts would let you go up to 3, etc., etc. The exception to this, as indicated on the board here, is if you are in Tokyo or Tokyo Bay, hearts will do nothing for you. The last dice is the lightning bolt. Now the lightning bolt give you these energy cubes, 1 for each lightning bolt that you keep. These energy cubes are then used to buy these power-up cards we have in front of you. For instance, for 3 energy cubes, you can get an alien metabolism, which will let you buy all future cards. Yeah, it's not going to go on blurry. Maybe if we bring it real close. Real close. Oh, yeah, there we go. But let you buy all future cards at 1 less energy cube. Here we have the wings. They cost 6, which is quite expensive. But you can then spend 2 energy to negate damage to you for a turn. So because you can't heal in Tokyo City, having wings would be quite a good way to stay in there longer. And there is a benefit for staying in Tokyo longer. You get 1 point for moving in. You get 2 points for each turn that you start in there as well. And the final card we have here is Plot Twist. For 3 energy, you can change 1 dice to any result and discard when you use that. You can also, for 2 energy, discard all the cards that are available and draw another 3 cards. All the cards have separate uses, all the cards are listed on what they do, so it's pretty easy. So we use Yahtzee rules for our dice roll. Oh no, we dropped the dice. Oh no, our video, it's broken. So you roll, you pick what you want to keep, and then you roll what's left. You pick what you want to keep. You can change your mind on things you've kept, and then you roll one last time. So what I ended up keeping was a 2, which does nothing by itself. That's just unfortunate. 3 claws, which would then do, because I'm in Tokyo, it would attack every other player at the table, apart from any player who's in Tokyo Bay, for 3 damage. And since you only have 10 health, that's pretty juicy. And 2 energy cubes, which I could get, and then I could spend immediately. And that is the game. You go around, everyone does their roll. If you're in Tokyo and you get attacked, you can then choose to leave Tokyo. This will let you heal on your turn. If you can roll the hearts, that is. We just saw me roll 3 times, I didn't get a single heart. And you win when you get to 20 points, or when everyone else is dead. The thing I personally like best about King of Tokyo is the multiple paths to victory. You know, it's a very, very light game. It's Yahtzee with monsters. You're rolling dice, yet there are still different ways you can win. You can win by being the last monster standing. You can win by hiding in the corner like a little bitch trying to roll point dice. Maybe a little bit biased about which one I think is more fun. But that's really cool. And I think, you know, King of Tokyo, it's a great game. Just like I said, we weren't planning on playing games. So it's a great light thing that you can just pull out, play a couple of quick rounds of while you're killing time, seeing if the clouds are going to go, and then go jump back in the pool. But it's also a great game to introduce to new players. It's really simple. You roll the dice. You're trying to either get to 20 points or you're trying to knock everyone out. If you're outside of Tokyo and you roll claws, you hit the person inside of Tokyo. But if you're inside of Tokyo and you roll claws, you hit everyone. That's just really easy for people to understand. And it's like, oh, if I get into Tokyo and I roll 2 dice, I do 2 damage to everyone? I'm going to feel so powerful. You know, there are a few times in this game that you feel like, I can't do anything. I can't influence the outcome of the game. And if you do feel like that, generally it's because you've made a mistake somewhere. You've been in Tokyo and you've let your hearts dip down too low. Or you've been sitting there, you know, trying to roll points, and 2 other people at the table have been rolling points, and that's just letting the person in Tokyo just keep beating on you, but so you can't kick them out. You have to stop rolling points now, you've got to get hearts. But someone's got to be rolling claws to get them out, but you guys are all in the same position. So there's a lot of really interesting ways that different play styles affect everyone else at the table. You know, I'll always be the guy that's like, stop rolling points, we've got to hit that guy or he's going to win. And then I try and win. But, you know, points are boring. Just roll claws, man. Okay, let's jump into our rating. So for the rules, I'm giving the rules an 8. Not because they're overly complicated, they're just on a little leaflet here. But when you start getting the power cards, you know, you roll the lightning bolts on your dice, you get energy and use them to pay power cards. There can be, you know, if I've got a power card and you've got a power card, there can be some timing issues that do present themselves there. It's like, you know, this card, for instance, when we were playing, I had the shrink card. So if I successfully attack someone, I get to put a shrink token on them and they get 1 less dice. However, the person I was attacking was using a card that let them roll dice for every damage they took, and if they rolled a heart, they didn't take that damage. Now, does that mean my attack's not successful, or does it just mean it's a 0 damage attack? Because if my attack's not successful, he doesn't get the shrink token. If it's a 0 damage attack, he does get the shrink token. So there can be those weird timing issues and how does this card work with this card. And because the rulebook is a leaflet, which is great, it makes the game easy to jump into. It means they've got nowhere to put those conflicts in, nowhere to really explain how to do them. So rules 8. Artwork, I am going to give I'm going to give the artwork a 7. Yeah, it's a fun dice rolling game, and the custom dice are cool. You know, you've got the black custom dice, and then if you get the extra head, you get an extra dice, and it's a cool green dice. And I believe I've got the orange dice as well from the Halloween expansion, which we're not talking about today. My only issue is, like, I'd like to see King of Tokyo scary. You know? And I get that's not the genre that they're trying to appeal to. They're trying to make this game as appealable to everyone as possible, and that will be reflected in the accessibility score. But like for me, I just like some angry looking monsters. And I have King of Tokyo Dark, and I'm hoping that when I finally get around to open King of Tokyo Dark, I'll get that dark, gritty artwork that I'm looking for that would make this monster smashing game feel a little bit more thematic, a little less cartoony. So we're going to give the artwork a 7. Accessibility, we're giving a 9. You know, we did talk about in how the rulebook doesn't classify how to deal with some of these timing issues, but if I sit you down at the table, I'm like, hey, do you want to play a monster game with me? All we really do is roll some die. Well, not with me, I would never play this 2-player. You do need a bigger group. We played with 3 and it was really violent, but I'd probably prefer to play with 4 or 5. But it's like, hey, do you want to come? You want to play this monster game with us? All you really got to do is roll dice, and that's it. That's not hard to explain. That's not hard to sell. And if they're still like, I don't know, you're like, look, it only takes 15 minutes, man. Just give it a go. If you're not into it, cool. You know, it's really easy for someone to get into, and it is one of those games that's like, oh, I get it now after the first game. Let's play that one again. And that's what you want, especially when you're introducing someone new. You want to flick that switch of, oh, let's play again. Let's play again. Because eventually Let's Play Again turns into like, do you have any other games? This is really fun. Like, what else do you have? What else have I been missing out on? So accessibility, we're giving a 9. Gameplay, for me, it's a 10. Gameplay, for me, is more of a score of like, how much do I want to play this game in the future? Anyone suggest King of Tokyo at any time, I will play it. King of New York, not so much. I feel like it's got too many rules for what it is. But if someone's like, hey man, do you want to play King of Tokyo? Even base King of Tokyo. I'd probably be more likely to play base King of Tokyo, because you can play that with anyone. I do want to play some expansion stuff. The costumes do add a lot. You know, they make the game a little bit more interesting. Everyone starts with their own special power. But that being said, base King of Tokyo, there's never really a time where pulling it out's not going to work, unless you've only got 2 people. So that's our scores. We have a look, gets an 8.75 out of 10. Staggeringly high for someone who has, you know, a lot of 4, 5, 6 hour games on his shelf. I didn't even expect it to be that high when I started, but when I started this review process and having played the game just the other day, I realized I really like King of Tokyo.